Welcome to the Christy Jones Show. This is your go-to podcast for living life to the fullest. I am a life and empowerment coach, speaker, and business owner in multifamily real estate. I am a woman passionate about helping others build a life that they truly desire. We'll talk about how to make the most out of every day, from setting meaningful goals to embracing the present moment. So join us as we explore the depths of living a life that is full of joy, purpose, and satisfaction. Well, hello, my friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Christy Jones Show. All the things to live your life to the fullest. You know, that's what I love to talk about. That's what I bring you each and every week is another talking point, another thought point. Sometimes I bring on guests, but everything that I bring to this podcast is to help you live your life to the fullest. So let's get started. Let's dive right into today's episode, which is all about the month of September. It's all about resetting. I think this is a fabulous time and I think September is a very powerful time to where we can reset, revisit the goals that we've had, kind of make some alignment checks, readjust as we need. But just like when we started out at the beginning of the year, we were like, a lot of times we start a new year fresh and excited with big goals, big visions. And then sometimes around this time of year, because we just went through summer and, September is when we start we naturally graduate into routines again. More into the structure because summer's a much more carefree time, right? So we get into September and we're getting back into sometimes a little more structure and routine, back to maybe habits that we were practicing, but we got away from. So I want to talk today about what you can do right now to revisit, recharge, and recommit to the things in your life that you want to stay on track and recommit to. So let me just kind of pause for a minute and say that summer's awesome. It's my favorite time of year. Like, I love summer. I love everything about summer. And you maybe don't share that same feeling about summertime. That's okay. But it's really hard for me to let go of summer. I just really, kind of go into fall kicking and screaming mentally. In my mind, that's what I see. I'm like, no. But fall also, this time of year represents symbolically, it really represents a lot of amazing things of changing seasons, of a more relaxed feeling, a season of really reminding us that there are times to let go of things and times to embrace things. So without getting too deep into that area of it, I want to talk about today about how you can really recharge, make September a really powerful time for you. Because what I don't want to happen, I hate when I see this happen with people, is they get to that end of the year, that mid-December timeframe, and they really feel like they missed an opportunity. They missed the mark, whether it's in their personal life, in a relationship, in their business, in their career, whatever area of life is kind of stirred up for them at the moment. Sometimes as we get to the closing of a year, we have some unsettled feelings, or we feel like, man, I wish I would have, recommitted to that or got back on track for what my goals and my vision was. So that's why I'm talking about this today, because I don't want that to happen for you later in the year. So right now, today, I'm going to give you some thinking points of what you can assess for yourself to determine how you want to refresh and realign and reignite yourself to finish out the rest of this year. All right, so we've established that September is a really great time to revisit, give yourself another chance, and really look at this as a window of time to make some great progress, to line yourself up, to set yourself up for success to finish out the final quarter of the year really strong. All right. So right now, what I'd like you to do is really, in order to really start off to kind of get this kicked off for yourself, you really have to ask yourself and take inventory of what feels off for you right now. What feels off center? What area of your life are you most just really have that unrest with? So I'm encouraging you to really honestly assess yourself. Assess where you feel off. Assess, is that in your career? Is it in a relationship? Is it your health? Is it, just overall personal development? Like, where is that for you right now? What resonates with you right now, today, as you're listening to this? And by the way, by the time this publishes, this is the 1st of September, the first week of September. You're probably not going to hear this till next week. So it's probably, let's say, around the 13th or 14th of September. So you've got 2 weeks to really take a look at and to really do some honest self-assessment for yourself of what feels off center. And I bet something immediately comes to mind to you. There's probably one really strong, glaring thing that feels off in your life right now. So take inventory. Where are you off center? So get clear about that. The next question I want you to ask yourself is, what are you holding back? What's holding you back? What are you holding back? And then what is also holding you back? What do you need to dump? It's kind of dumping the baggage. It's like the backpack. I've mentioned this before in another episode. It's like the backpack that you wear that is loaded down, that you just put so much effort in the morning. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'm giving you lots of body movement with this, because I use a ton of body language when I talk. By the way, if you're listening to the podcast, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're listening. But if you want the true full effect of my communication style, you have to watch this on YouTube. You have to watch this on my YouTube channel. I think Spotify actually also has the video version. But I'm huge on body language, and I have tons of facial expressions. So, and generally that's just my communication style. That's just how I do it. So if you need that, tune into the video segment. Okay. So back to what I was saying, dumping the baggage. So it's like this backpack, right? That you go and you're such a trooper. You just show up every morning and you put on that damn backpack like it is just your duty. You strap on that heavy backpack of all the weighted BS that you carry with you into the day, that you carry with you throughout the week, all the weighted BS. Like, you just keep strapping it on. Like, it's stuff when I talk about what's in the backpack and what's weighing you down and holding you back, first ask yourself, what's in your backpack that you can't change? That you can't do anything about? There are things that we can make changes on. There are other things in life that we can't control. There are factors that go on in life that we don't have control of. So what are you stuffing in your backpack that's things that you can't have any control in the outcome of that? For instance, we don't control the weather. I mean, I'm not saying that the weather's in your backpack, but I'm just giving you an example. We wake up and the weather we get is the weather we get. Now, how we move through that, how we interpret the weather, how we let ourselves feel about the weather, that's up to each of us. But the weather itself, it just shows up. Like, it is what it is. So you've got other things in your life that are like that. All right. So think about what in your backpack is like, you're just carrying it because it's stuff that you can't change, situations that you have no control over, such as the weather. Do you know what I'm saying? So take inventory of what's holding you back. A lot of times it's all the crap that we are throwing in the backpack. other things that could be holding you back. And then have you really in this, like, where you feel like you've gotten off track from your goals, from your vision of what you wanted for yourself or for your family in this year. What's gotten you off track could be other things. What's holding you back? Things like fear, things like self-doubt, things like the procrastination that you have. Those could be things that are holding you back from achieving your goals, from making the forward movement that you want to make. So acknowledge that. If any of those apply to you, acknowledge that. Be like, yeah, I do have a lot of self-doubt. Well, now you know that is an area that you need to do some work in. We've got to overcome that self-doubt. We can't make major gains in our life when we're carrying around a ton of self-doubt. Now, we all have a little self-doubt from time to time. Like, that's how our brain, we all have brains that like stir up these thoughts. We have so many thoughts in a day. But which thoughts are you dwelling on? Which ones do you go, that's a stupid thought? Because self-doubt is not serving me. Goodbye. Let it go. All right. So I'm not saying that it doesn't ever creep up. But if you are living in that space of self-doubt on a regular basis or on a daily basis, you wake up and you're fighting those thoughts, you need to like look at some ways in how you can, get away from the self-doubt. You need to work on your improving in your personal development in that area. I can tell you right now that there was a time in my life when I was younger, and I would say when again, when you go through things that like don't work out the way that you think they're going to, for me, it was the divorce that happened that I had to just see the writing on the wall, and I had to make tough choices. What is my life going to look like in 5 years and 10 years if I stay right here and put up with the abuse and put up with the current situation? Okay. So I had to look at the writing on the wall, and then I had to make some choices. And there was a lot of disappointment, and there was a lot of hurt and a lot of pain. And I had a lot of sadness about it. And also walked away from that with a lot of self-doubt. So I had to take that time in my life when I was like 25 years old and really, really work on improving all the self-doubt that I had, because, then I had made this big decision and it didn't work out. So then I doubted myself, all the things, right? You just start doubting yourself. So I had to do a lot of work back then. So glad I did, because it was like full steam ahead after that. It was like nothing was holding me back. Self-doubt was no longer going to be part of Christy, at the time, Christy Ernst, but then Christy Jones later. So take some self-assessment. And what's in your backpack? What are you strapping on your back every day that you don't need to be, that's weighing you down and holding you back? And then internally, like with yourself, like what things are holding you back, like procrastination, self-doubt, fear, and so forth. All right, next thing we're going to talk about, let me grab a drink of water. I can't make it through one whole episode without drinking water. It's just how it goes. Refining and realigning your goals. Why is that a good thing to do right now? Because this is why. Because we're 9 months into the year, and things that were high priority to you at the beginning of the year, when and whenever it was earlier this year, when you set some goals for yourself, when you created a vision for what you wanted this year to look like, at that time, you had a certain value system, you had things that were certain priorities, you had different set of circumstances possibly earlier in the year. And now come to September, it's very possible you've got a whole different set of circumstances in front of you. Potentially, maybe your family has gone through some really serious, challenging times and changes that you did not foresee. And you've had to adjust your schedule. You've had to adjust some things in your life to accommodate that. I mean, it could be a million things. I'm just tossing that as an example. My point is, it's time now to realign and reassess, are those goals and those, the vision you had, does it still resonate with you right now today? Has anything shifted or changed in your life or in your own personal development to where now when you look at what you initially, what your goals were for 2023, you look at maybe one or two of those and you go, that doesn't really resonate with me any longer. That doesn't align with who I am right now. So it's really important and it's totally okay to like reassess, reevaluate, and then realign. So that process, I like to do that for myself like every 3 or 4 months. I really kind of check in the things that that are on my priority list, the things that I have set out that I want to do, create, or experience. I pause about every 3 to 4 months and re-look at it, reassess, and kind of check in with myself to make sure that I'm still like on that, if I'm still in alignment with that strongly. And I know myself so well that I know when I'm just trying to talk myself out of something because, again, might be uncomfortable, might be hard, might be taking more time than I thought. I know myself well enough that I know when it's that, and I know when it's that this just doesn't align with who I am any longer. You will find in life that you will outgrow situations. You can outgrow people. You can outgrow goals. You can outgrow a lot of things because maybe you've just gone through a rapid growth season. So now that goal that you had, you're like, that's not important to me anymore. So take time this month to refine and to realign your goals. Also, I think it was last episode that I mentioned the process of when you're setting goals. I outlined about SMART goals. I believe it was just in episode 28 that I talked about that. So SMART goals, that's just a little format to follow without going too far into that, because you can go listen to the past episode. But goals should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and like time specific. So when you're setting goals for yourself, the SMART goal list is a really good format to use to kind of package that up really nicely for yourself. The next thing is going to be accountability. Right now is a great time to really assess your accountability. You've got to get accountable. And, that could be sharing your goals with a coach, with a mentor, with someone that you truly trust. Sharing your goals with someone that is on your team, that's in your corner. If you share your goals with the wrong person that has envy, that has maybe not your best interest at heart, or they just lack interest in what you're talking about, which is completely fine, but you want to be sure that you're not sharing your goals with the wrong people. So really use a lot of wisdom in that, and who you're sharing your goals with, who you're having these conversations with. But when you have things in place to help you stay accountable, you're going to stay on track. So using this last couple weeks of September to come up with some accountability, like a plan for that, is going to better set you up for success come at the end of December when you're, getting ready for the holidays and wrapping up the year. You'll be feeling so much better if you've put some accountability tools in place for yourself. And that also means be accountable to yourself and for yourself. How do I do that? You're asking, like, well, how do I be accountable for myself? Well, Maybe you need to establish some ways to check in with yourself. Maybe it needs to be like weekly check-ins that you do with yourself. I always use Sundays. I'm a big Sunday person because in my brain, like the new week starts on Monday, but on Sunday, that's when I do a lot of like mental preparation. Even, around my home, it's like the day if I have things I want to prepare for the week, organize my space, whatever it is. But to me, Sundays is that day that I would do to do check-ins with myself. I would, how did I measure up with what I set out to do last week? If like your health or fitness is one of your areas you feel a bit off center, and that's going to be an area of focus and realignment right now, then your weekly check-ins need to be thinking about, well, how did I eat and give myself nutrition last week? How did I shore up on that? You're not aiming for perfect. Okay. So for myself, I'll just share, I'm like an 80-20 person. So 80% of the things that I consume and put in my body, I want, I eat for, how's my husband say? He always he was teasing me the other day. Some people live to eat and you eat to live. I think that's how he said it. Does that make sense? And I was laughing because I generally look at like, I eat based on what I feel like I need for that day, if that makes sense. Now, I also eat for pleasure. I love to go out and have a good meal. I love Mexican food. I mean, there's certain things that I think, it's like, it's real pleasurable. Like it tastes good. It's fun. It's pretty, whatever. I mean, I love me a really good margarita. All right. But at the same time, I know that like, I'm not going to do that to myself on a regular basis because it's not going to help me achieve the goals that I have. And I'm just not going to feel good when it comes to nutrition. Like if I don't eat right and if I don't pay attention to the things that I'm eating and how much I'm eating and protein and all the things, I just don't feel my best. So, and I hate not feeling my best. So generally, if I don't feel my best, it's my own fault. It's stuff I've done. So Sunday's a day that I kind of look at the past week and I go, 80% of the time, did you, eat whole foods? Did you, fuel your body to give yourself the things you need to build muscle, to show up in this way, blah, blah, all the things, right? And I evaluate that. Now, if I need to course correct, then I go into the next week knowing what I need to do a better job at. So just getting honest with yourself. You can't BS yourself when you're like, do your self check-ins, even like when it comes to your business or career. If you're BSing yourself through it and telling yourself, oh yeah, I'm hitting the mark. Yeah, I'm paying attention. And then come December, you're not hitting the mark. Your business is losing money. You're not making the gains. You're behind schedule, whatever it is. You've been joking to yourself this whole time. And you're eventually going to we never can just get away with things, you guys. Like we always have to face the music. Like it always shows up. If you don't eat the way that you want to eat, eventually you have to face the music on that. Deal with the circumstances, I guess is another way to say it. If you aren't getting honest about where you're at in your business and the things of where you want to be and the things that what you need to be doing to create the business that you want. And if you're not doing it, then eventually you're going to have to face the consequences of that. I mean, it's just plain and simple. There's no way to sugarcoat it. So when you're not checking yourself and you're not doing check-ins with yourself and you're just BSing yourself, you are so not doing yourself a favor. So get honest with yourself. Next thing I'm going to talk about is daily habits. Daily habits are the building blocks of success. Your daily habits matter. Your daily habits really make or break your future success in any area of your life. Daily habits is what helps you achieve your long-term goals. It gives you long-term success. And without those daily habits, it's really hard to have the productivity to really make the gains that you're wanting to make. So this month, really assess in that when I asked you starting out, where do you feel off center? Well, and whatever that is for you, now think about your daily habits. How are your daily habits affecting that area of your life that you're feeling off center? And you got to get a plan for how to dial in your daily habits. And let me remind you that daily habits are not you deciding that day how you feel and if you want to. That's not going to get you the results. It goes back to when I talk about our thoughts. So you have a circumstance, and then you have a thought about that circumstance. That thought, the thought that you choose to have about the circumstance, is what dictates how you feel. And then how you feel, you're going to act from that place of your feeling. You've got to become really self-aware of that process. So if you don't feel like doing this daily habit that you know you need to do, you've got to have develop this ability, this discipline that shows up even maybe when you don't feel like doing it. A quick way to do that is to have another thought about the circumstance. That's a whole coaching session. And I do work with my clients on that all the time. So if that's you, then know that that's a whole area of coaching that I do with clients. And at the end of this podcast, I'll mention how you can reach out to me for one-on-one coaching. But just know that building blocks of success are your daily habits. So the area that you feel off center, you need to right now evaluate your daily habits around that area of your life. You also have to be willing to adapt. So going into this final quarter of the year, be willing to make some adjustments, modify your goals. It's okay to be flexible. Flexibility is key, you guys, in being successful in any area of your life. Your flexibility in your mindset, being flexible is key to success. So know that you have to be willing to adapt. We all have to adapt to new environments, to new situations, to new circumstances. And we have to find ways to thrive and be successful when we're kind of presented with situations that we can't change, right? We have to figure out how we can be flexible to still move forward and have the success that we want to have. And in this whole process, I don't want you to lose sight of the importance of your self-care, because how you take care of yourself, that's how you are fueling yourself through this journey, through this path. Okay, so September is a great time for you to reassess, like, what do you need? What do you need for yourself to stay focused, to stay motivated, to stay feeling energized? What do you need? And offer that. Come up with some ideas for your self-care going into this segment of the year. Because maybe what you did like in April and May and June to keep yourself recharged and keep yourself, focused and motivated and feeling good and mentally and physically, maybe the things you did then. But we're going into fall, and for a lot of us, that means a change of seasons. Our weather might change. Maybe we can't be outdoors every day if we love that. So you need to get proactive and start thinking about the ways that you can do your self-care now for the next 3 months to come. And what is that going to look like? What's that going to look like? Like, what does your schedule look like going into the third quarter or the fourth quarter of the year, right? What does it look like? So how are you going to still show up for yourself in that way? So really pay attention to that. because there's really no point in reassessing your goals and realigning and regrouping right now in September if you're not going to do the things to nourish yourself, to recharge yourself, to refuel yourself, to give yourself the support that you need this last 3 months. Like, there's no point in doing this work in September if you're not going to give yourself what you need in terms of self-care, in terms of support going into the last few months of this year. It's gonna be really hard. You're gonna come December, you're gonna be flat out exhausted. And you don't want to feel that way at the end of the year. You want to feel strong. You want to feel empowered. You want to feel excited. You want to feel successful. You want to feel happy and joyful. So put those building blocks in place for yourself right now. So I'm going to wrap up by reminding you that September, it is not just a month. We're going to look at September as a fresh start. You're going to look at September right now as your new month one. We're going to restart. We're going to reassess. We're going to realign, recharge. So I want you to see September as a time that you can get a fresh start and really go into this last 3 months, the fourth quarter, if you're thinking of it in business terms. You're going to go into it strong, grounded, enthused, confident. So I want that for you. I want that for you so much. And I hope you want that for you. But if the only way it's going to happen is if you want it for you. Somebody can't want it for you. You have to show up for you, and you have to want it for you. So take this time, stir up that determination, stay committed to your goals, and let's get everything realigned and packaged up. And let's get excited as we go through September and then we step into these final 3 months of 2023. I know that you have it in you to show up for yourself and really step into those final few months ready to go. All right. So I want to remind you that in my one-on-one coaching, if any of this is like, hey, I need some accountability, I need to dive deeper, I need to get some clarity on some things of what's holding me back. I have 5 pillars within my one-on-one coaching. It's called the Flourishing Edge. And I help you gain clarity on which of those 5 is your focal point. And because a lot of times you already know, but you need you need some clarity. You're struggling with putting your finger on the mark of what exactly it is that you are just feeling off center, that you want to have total success in that area of your life, but it's just not hitting the mark. So if you are interested in that, a couple ways that you can find out more about it. I will put a link in the show notes to the Flourishing Edge, my one-on-one coaching. You can head over to my website, christyjones.org, and click on the coaching tab, and that will also get you the information. Or you can drop me an email, drop me a DM if you're on social media, any of the channels, and I will send you all the information straight to you. So, all right, go make today great. Thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate each and every one of you, and keep the show episode ideas coming in because I'm listening and I'm giving you what you're asking for. So I appreciate you. Go make your day great, and let's recharge and let's go in September. I'll talk to you soon.